Hello and welcome to the BRL, also known as the Breakout Racing League, here at Tier 3, Round 8, the French Grand Prix, also known as the Circuit Paul Ricard, located in La Castellet in France. As I'm your main commentator, Zach the Beast 42, as we have a 13 driver grid attendance, as all four of our championship protagonists have been able to make the Grand Prix today, or tonight really, where you really are located. As I'm your main commentator, Zach the Beast 42, and alongside of me is Dixie Ishigo. And how are you feeling about the race today?
I am feeling great, my friend. Hopefully, we don't have another realistic tier. If our viewers saw it last night, then I think they'll know with some rain to dry racing in the quarter of one lap. So, yeah. Other than that, I'm looking forward to the race. Let's hope for a good one.
Yep, as you can tell that we haven't gotten any curveballs yet so far, at least in this qualifying session. There's already a minute has went by, and it is dry conditions, no clouds that I can see whatsoever. So you said last night in the realistic tier, the lobby was really bugged, but it went from thunderstorms to indoor conditions, and then in a span of right as soon as you cross the line, it went full dry immediately. Everyone had the pit, and there was a whole bunch of glitches just in general. So we're hoping for not for another repeat of realistic tier, as I am being told that there is going to be a rain in the Grand Prix. Whew, this is already going to be exciting. Seems like if it's going to rain in the race, then I'd expect everyone to be on the softs as Ardell is, as we're going to try and look for the tires. Yes, everyone is on the softs except for Mitchie on the mediums, and Killer F1 also on the mediums on his outlap, as majority of the grid is on their outlap, as I will have to find who will be able to do their lap first, as I will believe
I think it's an Alpine, Kieran Evans.
Yeah, and thank you, Kieran Evans going through the final quarter now. Doesn't invalidate this lap and next lap. He's going to come across the line to start his lap on the soft compounded tire. Once across the line, seems like a straight dart to the line. Going into turn one, you break at around the 50 meter. We're going to go TV hot for this lap, as I'll do commentate the hot lap. Going through the straight, you want to try your best to get out of the track and hit the curb and then cut back in. Going around third gear, I would personally go down to second, but it's okay. It's everyone's preference. As going around here, purple sector one, obviously he's the first driver out, as he gets loose and invalidates his lap. So far not a good quality session for Kieran Evans.
Yeah, it was such a minor mistake, but that's the characteristic of this track, especially coming out of the first sector there. So it's a shame, but he's got plenty of time to make that lap up.
Yeah, that's a yellow flag in sector 2. I believe that is the McLaren Solar. Yes, no, it's not. It's fucking chaos. Did he invalidate his lap?
No, he was getting out of the way of BRL ARDEL, currently on a hot lap.
Alright, that's weird. It's not showing me that he's on his in lap or out lap, but I'm trying to look for who's on his out lap. Mitchie's on his lap now. Killer is invalidated, going way off in sector 2. Assuming made a mistake there, as I'm trying to look for Gary starting the lap. Kieran is invalidated, so he's going in the pit lane. Katra and Solar are still in the pit lane. Ron starts his flying lap now. DXR rages in sector 2. I'm trying to see where Ardell is. He's going through the final corner now at 57 battery. That was kind of expected in quali. Now it's just a straight line to start finish line, and the time to beat will be a 1:30.1 on the soft compounded tire for BRL ARDEL.
Very good opening lap from the Red Bull driver, considering how early on we are in this qualifying session. Going to be a very good time for the remainder of this session. It'll be interesting to see what other drivers can do.
Yeah, as I'm trying to figure out, I believe that will be Whiffy coming across the line now. Yes, it is his. Use of the battery, which is he gets a 30.5 on the soft compounded tire. I'm trying to look who's. I believe that is yeah, it's Kieran.
Killer has invalidated his lap time, so he's gonna go again.
And ZXR Rage gets a 30.6 on the soft compounded tire. It seems like Ardell has put in a fast lap so far for the tier 3 drivers to beat, as I'm And then once again to see who's going to finish his lap
Mitchie
now.
950 comes across the line.
131.7.
Very good lap.
I
on those
believe that
mediums.
is a banker.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gary 500.
Yeah, Gary gets a 30.3, Ron gets a 30.2, puts both of them up in P2 and P3. Speaking about Gary, the momentum has been on his side in the championship standings. Speaking of the championship standings, I'm going to go do a rundown of them now. Ardel is leading with a 9-point gap of 105 points of Ardel, and in second place we have Ron Swanson. Recently won at Canada due to time penalties. That is one of his strengths, I will say, not getting time penalties, keeping it on the tarmac, which has been able to help him elevate positions and contend for his championship. 96 points that he has to his name and 9 points out. And in third place, we have Gary, who's been on a roll lately, who's won the Monaco and the Baku Grand Prix, but got 7th at the Canadian Grand Prix due to... I'm not gonna... I'm having a stroke. Apologies, but
No worries.
On the start-finish straight, he hit the back of Ardel and went spinning, and it put him in a worse position than it really shows, and that would bring him down one spot, and he's only 4 points behind Ron and 13 points behind the championship leader. Now we have ElTaco on his outlap, and speaking of Taco, he is P4 in the championship standings. He has 83 points to his name, 9 behind Gary, and is 22 points out of the championship leader, or BRL ARDEL. Taco, I believe, will get a little bit of slip from Walking Chaos. Yes, he will. There's a Red Bull coming out on the track now. That's going to be a little bit iffy as he lets him through and cuts the first corner. As Taco goes wide, he does not invalidate, actually. I'm going to do a hot lap with him if he doesn't invalidate. Hits the apex perfectly going through there. Stays in third gear, hits the apex there. Let's see if he gets a purple. No, he does not. With a 22.7, this is his first lap, so we don't know how much he's improving, but we'll see later on in qualifying. Going on the long straight, DRS, you just gotta keep it straight line, really. Don't do anything dumb, really, I suppose. Going through the chicane, you break it between the 150 meter, which he does. It's the second part of the chicane. Really nice. Let's see if he was able to get a purple sector 2 here. And no, he does not with a 50.6. Just through here, just hold it in 8th gear, don't lift whatsoever. Try not to hit the curb through there. So he rides the curb, now going into the fast right-hander. He's got to keep in the middle rhythm, make sure that you don't lose any traction coming out of the corner. Going through the fast left here. I've seen in this part is very tricky with traction, especially in the wet, which we'll be able to see how the drivers tackle that. Going in the slow left-right part of the track in sector 3. He doesn't hit the apex there, but we'll get a good runoff and hits the DRS straight. And now don't move anything lower. As Walking Chaos into the plane gets a 29.4, and Taco hits a 30.8.
That 29.4 from Walking Chaos, very good lap. I think that's wow. I have no words. That lap was very impressive considering the times we've seen so far. Ardel's still off that 30.1. He's definitely going to want to improve.
Yeah, as while I was doing that hot lap with Taco, Kieran Evans was able to elevate him into P3 with a 30.2 in the Alpine. And Mitchie is on an outlap, which he did a banker with the mediums. Yes, he's the only person that's done a lap on the mediums or has not improved, but this is going to be his first lap on the softs. Is he on an out lap right now? I'm trying to look for people that's on a lap right now, and that is Whiffy. Whiffy this season, really, we haven't said his name much, but in his recently raced results, he's not started most of them, so let's see if he'll be able to do something here. As the drivers, if they want to have a shot at the Tier 3 Championship, once again, I have to say it's still early days. It's still early days here in the Tier 3 Championship, but with how consistent the top 4 guys are, you may want to get a move on.
Yeah, he's had good form in qualifying at least. His average qualifying position was 3.5, so His qualifying's been pretty good, but his races have been less than good, with an average position of 11th place. So he definitely would like some points on the table today, and I think if he can pick up a lap from qualifying, he'll be set for the race.
Yeah, as he sets a purple sector 2, I don't believe that's legit, as it showed that he improved. He only improved through sector 2 by 2/10. That will put him up to P6. No, that'll put him up to P5, ahead of Gary, below Ron Swanson. But going through sector 3 now, we're going to see if he's able to improve or not. So I believe there will be no rain for qualifying. Still no clouds whatsoever, but in the race, it's going to be a different story. It's going through sector 3 now, going into the slow left and right hander, going in a straight line with the DR extra 10 kilometers per hour as Whiffy goes up in the P6 with a 30.4 on the soft compounded tire. We're gonna go to Mitchie here, and he's invalidated actually, so unfortunate for him. And I'm trying to look for tickets on the lap.
Just want to point out that
Gary's invalidated.
Ardel, while we were watching Whiffy, went up to P2 with 29.5, only a 10th off of walking. They're the only 2 drivers so far in the 29s.
Yeah, but Ron Swanson's on a lap now. Let's see if that will be able to change. I wasn't able to see his sector time to see if he was improving or not, but he's kept it valid. He's kept it on the tarmac, as I said before. That's one of his strengths as he goes in the pit lane, actually.
Well, I guess he wants a new set of tires. Or maybe he made a mistake and said, let's just pit and wait till the track really ramps up in the last few minutes of qualifying here.
Or he was on an end lap. I believe he was on an end lap. But I'm looking.
His teammate is also on an end lap.
What I have to point out is that Katra is on a lap as well as Solar
Pits.
And Killer. And Killer pits, actually. So he's probably invalidated his lap time. Actually, who's that?
Killer's still out on the track. He's about to come across the line now.
Oh, yeah, I saw, here in the pits. I thought that was Killer. My apologies. As he sets a 29.7, the third driver that hit the 29s, and he goes up in the P3. So I'm trying to look. Oh, that's a bit questionable. But as I'm trying to...
I believe Catra's the only one on an actual flying lap right now. Everyone else is in the pits or on their out laps. Oh, but she just invalidates. What a shame.
That's such a shame. It seemed like she had a 49.9. I would not be surprised if Capture goes in the pit lane, and yes, she does. As Taco and Rage is on an out lap. Taco actually starts his lap now. As we're going to watch this lap with him and see where he goes up. He's ran a 30.8 on the soft compounded tires. We're going to go on the compounded tire that everyone's on, and it is all soft across the board. So I'm expecting a wet start to the Grand Prix here. As let's see if Taco is able to improve in the Sector 1. Yes, he does, by 5/10 at 30.3. That will put him probably, I'm not sure, he would 100% be behind Ron, maybe Gary, but I believe with this pace that Taco's up by 5/10 already, I believe he'll be ahead of Gary.
Yeah, meanwhile behind him, Kieran Evans goes a 10th up in the first sector. So, well, if these guys looking for some time, Kieran definitely have to find a bit more than a 10th, maybe even 5/10 to get him in the top 3. And Taco definitely wants to improve while he's still trying to fight for this championship.
Yeah, and this championship, of how consistent these guys been, as I say it once again, you need the most points as you can. And Taco actually lost times to Sector 2. He's now only 4/10 up. So now that put him at 30.4, and we'll put him behind Gary. Maybe ahead of Liffey, I'm not sure, but we're going to see when he crosses the line.
Yeah, I know Kieran also lost in thought. He lost about half a temp, so it'll be very marginal if he doesn't improve on the Sector 3.
Taco comes around the final corner using all the curve that he can. Let's see if he's able to improve. It looks like it with a 30.4 puts him ahead of Kieran, but behind Whiffy, and only elevates himself up 2 positions.
Yep, Kieran found 2/10, but remains P4. Not a terrible starting position considering all the chaos second half in turn 1.
Yep, in the wet start. Yesterday in the realistic tier on the opening lap of the opening Grand Prix, on the opening lap of the French Grand Prix here in the realistic tier, I got pushed off I'm not sure if it was intentional or not, but I did get pushed off. Had to basically park it like it was a NASCAR race if you got a penalty. We had to park it and go in case I didn't get any time penalties. Here it is on an end lap. I'm trying to look for people that's on the lap now.
GXR Rage just crossed the line to improve his time, but interestingly enough, at least from what my POV saw, I was have a spinner for Red Bull. It's Mitchie going around in the second corner, but GXR Rage only moved by 10th, but didn't open the DRS coming to the line, so you might say, yeah, he might have some time to find if he makes it back. He's currently exploring the track limits.
Yeah, which is something you cannot do in the Breakout Racing League, is willingly exceed track limits, as you saw with VRL. Or it was Killer. It was on the Hosses, I do know that. You're not allowed to do that. Like, I would expect someone in the viewers to probably send that in as a steward.
Meanwhile, Kieran...
Killer's on an out lap.
Kieran 210
Ardel's on an out lap.
Kieran 29.9, 4th place. He improved, but
fourth.
not his position.
Yeah, the 4th driver tonight to get in the 23 bracket is basically half of the grid is on an out lap. Is Gary on his lap?
Yes, he is.
He is. He's barely down on his time, so it seems like Sector 1 so far has gotten the best of him. Let's see if he's going to be able to improve in Sector 2 and Sector 3. And basically everyone's on an out lap now. We're going to have to look through everyone's lap times after Gary. Gary is going to cross Sector 2 with a time of a 49.9, only a 10th up. That will put him only ahead of Ron, and that's it. Going through Sector 3. Let's see if he has anything to find here at Sector 3. On the TV pod here, as we're going through the slow left right-hander, goes into second gear, barely misses the apex, gets a little bit of wheel spin coming out of there. Now it's just a straight dart to the line. Let's see if he's able to improve. No, he cannot. And he's down by half a tenth, as everyone is not on their lap, and Kieran has retired from the session in the pit lane.
Yep. That's his qualifying over. Good lap, though, in the 29s. Meanwhile, MSD Solar is about to start his lap. He hasn't even set a lap so far along the fake Abtra. He goes up to a 30 flat in 5th place. Very good lap from the McLaren driver.
Yep, as the first drivers. Oh, never mind, actually. Killer has invalidated this lap, and I believe that is a Ferrari. Yes, it is, of Woofy. He's going to be next to cross the stripe. I wasn't able to see a Sector 2 or Sector 1 times, so we don't know if he's up or not, as qualifying is complete. It seems like the 29.4 is the lap time to beat. Let's see if Woofy's able to beat it, and he goes up with a 29.8, which will put him P4, and Ron was not able to improve his position. I'm not sure if he improved his time, though. Next person to cross the line is Katra, and he goes up for 29.4, barely off a pole position. Now, the guy to look out for is Walking Chaos. He's currently on a lap as well. He's down 2/10, actually.
And
in Sector 1. Let's see his Sector 2.
He got some slipstream from his teammate, but a cheeky work right there from the McLaren boys.
Yeah, that 100% helped him, as he's up by a 10th. He will go into the low 29s as Gary has retired from the pit lane. Everyone except for both the McLarens are done with their lap. Well, Solar is done with the lap, but hasn't crossed the stripe or in the pits in qualifying. But Wonky Chaos on his final flying lap, going through Sector 3, a 10.5 up. Let's see if he's able to improve that time. His quali is pretty much but over. Let's see what Wonky Chaos is able to do. And he improves with a 29.1, able to get a 3/10 gap between the rest of the competition. It seems like, at least in the dry, I think Walking Chaos is the guy to beat.
Definitely appears so with that big gap. Just want to point out that Katra set that time with one lap. She hadn't set a lap prior to that, and she shot herself all the way up to second place. So, might be one to watch out for if this race goes dry.
As Mitchie was not able to get a lap done on the soft compounded tire, so he will start dead last at the 31.7 on the medium compounded tires, 2.6 off of the pole time, which was a 29.1. Wow. As in the wet, let's see who has the best wet setup.
Ooh, good point. Who is running a wet setup, if anyone?
Yeah, that's saying if it stays full wet through the whole race, it may transition to wet to dry or even dry to wet. If I was staying corrected, I believe it will be a wet start to the Grand Prix because everyone was on softs. I expect at least some people to start on the medium compounded tire, as we're about to find out if it's a dry or a wet start.
It's pretty overcast. I can't see any rain droplets, but
now we'll see.
man, we'll see when we get on the grid. You know, it'd be really crazy if we had a 2017 China situation where most people are on Interth, and then we have someone like Carlos Sainz starting on the slicks. That would be very interesting, to say the least.
Yeah, I don't believe the game will let you do that. If it's dry, you're gonna start on dry, but if you're on wet, you start on dry. If you start on wets, you're on wets. If you start on dries, you're on dries. But I haven't tested that out yet, ever in my F1 League Racing career, so I may be corrected here. But now everyone is getting their final setup adjustments in for the fuel and their strategy, so can't wait to get this Grand Prix underway.
Absolutely. Looking at the race structure, only 2 people are on the mediums, ElTacoMan and Mitchie at the back of the grid. We'll see if that changes when we get to the formation lap, though.
Yeah, it is not raining. It is completely overcast on the formation lap, so let's see if we'll be able to get rain in the opening laps here. As now, really, my main goal, if I was in this situation, my main goal is just make the softs last to the wet weather. Because if, let's say, people can't stretch the softs, they would have to go, it would have to go to like mediums. I would have to assume mediums. And they would be a whole pit stop behind you. So, really, my main goal here, if it's supposed to rain like early in the race and the overcast weather supports my statement here, you gotta try and make those softs last as long as you can, as walking chaos just kills the ARS board. Unfortunate with the people that have no line, but in my opinion it doesn't really matter. You got a signal on your screen. But looking through the red of the grid, walking chaos, if we look at his latest race result, I'm assuming, I'm not sure if he showed up or not, as a predicted pit stop strategy there, but I doubt that will be in the use with the wet and the rain. And
just wanted to
Walking
point
Chaos got a podium P2 actually last race. I wasn't able to interview him because I believe he just went to bed, as he lives in the UK, so really don't blame him.
Yeah, I don't blame him either. Just wanted to point out, Arabian Killer in the chat says prediction for Catra to win the race and Taco to get a podium. We'll have to see. Taco is starting down in 11th place, but you never know. As I'm seeing some rain actually at the end of this formation lap, so we might get some in the first lap or two. We never know.
Oh yeah, you're correct. I see rain as well. Will anyone pull a Germany 2007 and pit for the Inters? No, they will not, but this is, like I said at the start of the stream, curveballs will be thrown at us. I assume that this will be the first curveball of many, as now all the drivers are loading and getting set on the grid. I'm trying to look for a good camera angle for the start of the Grand Prix. I believe this will have to do.
Perhaps TV pod and just looking back from Walking Chaos as you see the chaos behind him. We'll have to find out.
Let's find out. 5 red lights. And it's lights out, and away we go. So I believe Walking Chaos gets a really good start. Catra gets stalled out. Ardel is able to get through. Now Catra is under attack from Killer F1. Catra going wheel to wheel with Killer F1, and Killer F1 lets it through, as now it is just a Hornet's Nest from back on there. P4 on back. Kieran's dropping back a little bit. Is Whiffy winner? Oh, they're going at it again between Catra and Killer. But you might know who it is. Catcher has to forfeit the battle. She believes that it is not worth it as there is raindrops. Actually, no, there's not. The rain has actually went away. I'm not so surprised by that. Yeah.
That's coming. Maybe it's only of the rain coming. Here in Axe are going side by side.
Yeah, Whiffy and Catcher were going at it. Catcher was prone as she didn't have as much slip as Whiffy did, and now Gary and Kieran are now going at it. So I have to go to TV pod. As I believe, they're actually going at it between Taco and Solar. They're going wheel to wheel, going into the sector 3. I would be very surprised if they're able to find a way to make this work. Taco on the medium, Solar on the softs. Taco has to go wide, and Solar is not able to clear him, and yes, he does.
Oh, Ron spins! He's drifting! He almost saved it. Let's run down to P13.
Yeah, but it's only lap 1. You can't win the race on lap 1, but you can for sure lose it. I don't believe Ron has wing damage. And the rain is actually returned. I see it on the broadcast view. And then go to TV pod. Yes, it is. It has returned actually. So will we be able to see the intercompounded tires be used? I believe so. Stakes are raised. It just seems like everyone from P6 on back has just been in a little DRS train, you could say. But on lap 3, the DRS will be enabled. But the question is, for how long? Will the rain stay as much as it is? Will it get heavier? As Kieran is struggling for traction coming out of the corner, showing that soft compounded tire is starting to lose its grip as the rain, which common sense, it cools down the tires, and that's why the tires don't work in the wet, because they're really cool. And when it's cold, you can't turn. So the question is, once again, will the intermediates be using this Grand Prix? And I believe the rain is actually picking up a little bit. I still don't see any puddles. I saw Rage had to lift through there a little bit. That is a sign of the rain picking up. I'm trying to look for the closest battle, and that is between Whiffy Winner and Haycatcher 3124. Something I have noticed is that you can use a little bit of a diamond, and what I mean by that is that you can, that's a yellow flag, and that is ElTacoMan.
He has no wings. What happened there?
I'm not sure. So Ron's able to go by him, and Mitchie's in as well. It was Mitchie involved in the collision.
Does he have any damage? I can't really see it yet. I have to wait for the camera angle to change. No, he's pitting for inters. Now.
Oh, he's pitting for inters. What a gamble. Mitchie with a gamble, as I do see puddles in the pit lane.
This could work.
I'm trying. No, this really can work. Waiting for the DRS to be enabled. I'm not sure if it was. I did not see the logo. And yeah, there's 100% puddles on the track. The intermediate compound are going to be used. And I would say the slap is Gary, Catcher, and Whiffy. All of them are struggling with traction. You can tell Catcher is a little snap. Had to lift a little bit through there. But let's see if Catcher looks to remove. I doubt that she will. But yeah, the puddles are just, it's all over the track now. I wouldn't be surprised if people going into this lap.
Yeah, I'm looking at the gap coming between Mitchie and Ron. It's going to be interesting how this develops over the lap. Taco on the mediums. I don't know. I mean, maybe it's too early for inters, but risking him to have to pit again from mediums onto inters, I don't know. It would definitely like a safety car.
Yeah, but the guy to look out for is Mitchie. Oh, that's a yellow flag. Whiffy's off. And he has no front wing. It seems like he lost it through that corner. Lost the traction, and Solar's off as well.
They must have made contact or something.
Kieran gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits as Mitchie trying to see what his... Ooh. Ardel's in. Walking Chaos is in. Everyone's in except for Chaos. Gary gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane. GXO Rage gets a 5-second pit lane as DRS is disabled. That's the biggest sign in the world that it is Inters weather. So I'm not surprised everyone is coming in for Inters. And Mitchie, he's already gained... Hold on, I gotta find him.
He's gained about 4 seconds, 2 seconds in his lap, so it's taken a while, but at least he got the strategy call right.
Yeah, let's see. He was P7, I believe, before he boxed through the intercompounded tire. Let's see where he ends up. I believe he will be up the P6, P5 around there. He may be ahead of the Hot Snow. He will not. And he ends back up in P8 actually. No gain or no loss for Mitchell.
Yeah, the only gain I think he has is having some warmer tires compared to his fellow racers on the track. But that advantage won't last too long.
Yeah, but for the first lap of his lap that he was out for the first lap, did he perhaps maybe heat up the engines too much? Because if you heat them up and they're over temperature, they're too hot, it kills the engine's grip when it's finally rain condition. So let's see if he overburned the tires, which I don't believe he did, because the amount of rain that came in the second half of that lap definitely benefited him. As we're gonna look for the biggest winners. That's what's happened.
Chaos had a little bit of a moment. He's really struggling. The pit stop around here is usually around 22 seconds. That's going to put him down to P4, P5. So he won't lose that many places considering he's had to do an entire lap and inter conditions on those slicks, but I'm still boggled by the fact that he didn't pit last lap.
Yeah. As he's losing 13 seconds. He's not even going to be... he's going to be behind Midgie, I believe.
Yeah, he lost a lot of time getting into that pit road.
As BRL ARDEL will be overtaking the lead. And Killer will not be... Oh, actually... He's out of the pit lane now. He's actually... No, he's going to be ahead of Kieran.
Yeah. Oh, he's P6. Not terrible.
Yeah, but it could have been so much worse. I'm looking for the closest battle on track right now.
Top 3.
And Catcher, as it is a 3-way battle between Gary, Catcher, and Kieran. As you see from the biggest winners, Gary is able to climb up 7 spots. Started P10, now is up in the P3, but the biggest loser has been Whiffy. Is in P12 now, but I believe, if my math is correct, he started P5. Yes, I am correct. Why'd I have to second question myself on that? But it seems like this is the closest battle on track other than JXR Rage and Mitchie for P8. And in the wet conditions, really, in this game, and to my surprise, you really can't pass here except for when someone can make a huge mistake, like getting off the line or exceeding track limits, having the lift in order to not get that warning or even time penalty. I believe that's the only time you can pass someone unless you have the huge battery advantage. But in my opinion, the battery won't even matter in wet conditions because you can gain that ERS back up so quickly.
Yeah, the battery can play a decent role, maybe, because you look at it, Gary's at 45%, meanwhile Catcher's at 100%, so. Like you said, the battery won't play a major effect, but it could if Catcher was to dump the ERS on the straight. We'll have to see, but right now he's just sitting behind Gary, letting him drag her along. Remember, he has a classic penalty, so she can just sit behind him for as long as she wants.
Yeah, but the question is, will Gary get that 5-second time penalty removed? As he was speeding in the pit lane. I'm not sure if he would get that removed. I would have to assume so. At least he would try and get that removed because I've seen people like getting a time penalty on the pit lane when they even have a positive delta on it. So we will see if he tries to remove that or not. As Katra and Gary's actually started to pull away from Kieran a little bit. And Walking Chaos has gained so much time on all 3 of them really. So we can see a 4-way battle for the last step on the podium. At least so far.
Yeah, Watkins was flying in the dry, and now he's flying in the wet as Ricard goes a little bit deep into the corner, but he survives it. While Rage still stuck behind Mitchie. Ron catching up to the both of them, that'll be good for his championship. Ardell leading the race still by about 3 seconds to Killer. Yeah,
there's nothing we can watch really except for the battle for the last step of the podium, which is P3. Gary has a 5-second time penalty. If I'm Katra here, I would race him like he's going to get that removed because, as you can remember, in Realistic Tier at Azerbaijan, I was battling for the win with Supply Raptor. He had a 5-second time penalty for a collision, I believe, and I'd raced him like he was going to get that removed, and guess what? He got that removed a day later. So from catcher, you got to have that mindset of, I can't treat it like he's not going to at least try and get that removed, as catcher's actually been able to catch a little bit, as Walking Chaos is on the rear gearbox of Kieran. He will not be able to look for a move, though. Barely over 2/10 ahead, Kieran is above Walking Chaos, and Walking Chaos hits the curb a little bit, gets his car unsettled, he has to lift, and now he loses somewhat of all the time that he has gained. ZXR Rage gets a 3-second time penalty for exceeding track limits. I believe that is his second time penalty of the Grand Prix, as there's a 3-way battle for P8 actually. We're going to try and look back on the battle for P5, as Walking Chaos is 6/10 back. Catcher is 3/10 adrift from Gary. Catcher peaks. I think that's a sign of, hey, I'm here, I'm quicker than you. It would be not advised, but it would be nice if you'd let me through here.
Yeah, you notice her ear actually stopped using like 3/4 of the way down to the straight, so she's just letting him know he keep going, like if he makes a mistake, she'll take the position free of charge.
Yeah, as Walking Chaos is 3/10 adrift from Kieran, as he gets a so much better apex than Kieran right there, and is able to gain basically half a tenth. His catcher is also 3/10 adrift from Gary, so seems like in Sector 3, the guys that are ahead struggle, and the guys behind, and I wouldn't say dirty air at this point, but like staying behind him, staying in their slip, it's a better run, and that's a yellow flag. That is BRL Kieran.
Oh, he spun around.
Does he have wing damage?
No, I don't think he does. Yeah, no visible wing damage. He may have hit the inside curve.
No visible wing damage, but I apologize to interrupt you, as Walking Chaos is going to look on the inside for a move on Kieran Evans. Kieran Evans does not give up. They're close wheel-to-wheel racing, as Walking Chaos is also going back for a switchback on the outside. Is he going to go for a dive bomb? Yes, he will. Kieran still does not give up, and Kieran finally gives up, and Walking Chaos is able to get the position back. And Kieran almost hits the rear gearbox of Walking Chaos, but now Walking Chaos can set his sights on the last step of the podium.
And now Cat was setting her sights on the last step of the podium. She had a great run against Gary. He's not using it for the rest of it. Gary's down to 5%. He is just using his battery to save his life. Meanwhile, Cat is up to 90%. So I think it's only a matter of time before she gets passed.
I believe so, but at the same time, if Katra wants to keep Walking Chaos behind, she has to get a move on, because Walking Chaos is able to pull. Oh, that's the yellow flag. Who is that?
Whiffy spun around by himself.
Yeah, that's a yellow flag for Whiffy. I'm trying to look back for the battle for P3. Katra trying to get rid of the quote-unquote dirty air. I'm not sure if there's going to be air in the wet, but I'd have to assume that there is. Katra looking for the diamond run, is, once I said before, you can enter the corner on the high side, and then you would cut down to the bottom and get the traction, and it seems like it really has worked. So let's see if Katra will look for a move here on the main straight. And Walking Chaos has already cut down that gap between the second. If this was dry conditions, Katra and Walking Chaos would have DRS, but guess what? It's raining here at I don't want to butcher it, so I'm not going to say it. But here at Paul Ricard, La Castellet. There we go. I didn't butcher it that time.
I just want to point out that I was looking at the lap times between Ardel, Killer, and Gary. Gary is losing. He just lost a second to Ardel. He gets a 3-second. I just noticed that Gary lost a second that lap to the top two, respectively. So, yeah, actually might want to get a move on if she wants any chance of winning this race if he stays with.
And that's a yellow flag at 63. That is looking once again. Yep. But Ardel getting a 3-second time penalty. That is absolutely crucial in this Grand Prix, because Killer is only 8/10 behind the 3-second mark. And it is still slowly rising, but we will see if Ardel is maybe saving his tires a little bit. But to me, if I've been paying attention to the rain for a while, if you correct me if you can, but it seems like to me the rain has actually gone away a little bit.
Oh, there's another spin from Woofy. This is just not his race today. Very unfortunate for the Ferrari driver. Yeah, I haven't really paid attention to the rain, I'm not gonna lie, so you might be right. The rain might be going away. or it might be staying the same. We'll just have to wait and see. It's Kieran gets a 3-second point. That won't help his fight as he tries to close down on Ron Swanson in P9.
Yeah, something I'd like to point out is that Hey Catcher has actually gained 3/10 to Gary on sector 3. He's now on the rear gearbox at 100% ERS. Gets a little bit of wheel spin. Walking Chaos is only 5/10 of drift from Catcher. That is another yellow flag from Woofy. So Catcher once again peeking on the inside, letting Gary know that I'm here and you better let me through, or else I'm gonna do it the hard way. So Gary, I believe, had a little lag punch through there. Walking Chaos only 3/10 of drift from Catcher. So on Catcher, you gotta get a move on here if you wanna even have a remote chance at the podium. Or not podium, the race went out. I'm sorry, I apologize.
Oh, interesting. Kieran has just put on the medium tires.
Ooh, we have our guinea pig. It does not look like...
Hey, never say never. He may have the glitch you had last night.
I'm gonna say never because he just spun out in the pit lane, so it is still in his conditions.
Right behind Catcher as BRL Racing accident penalties if you would be so kind as to pull those up for him when you get the chance.
I did not notice that. I didn't have the tires out, but here you go. Here's penalties. Ardel for 3-second time penalty. Gary with a 5. May try and get that removed to go down to P9. GXR Rage in the Alpine 8 seconds. Kieran 6 seconds for 2 penalties for exceeding track limits, and Woofy gets a 3-second time penalty.
Oh, Catcher's right behind Gary. She's got to make the move.
Yeah, she's got to make the move here. Sean peaks. Gary basically walks her, really. Walking goes... Walking Chaos? Oh, it's actually stopped raining! I did not notice that until now, so really at this stage of the race, if it goes dries really quick, I would have to assume that
he's on mediums. If Kieran got the 5-second penalty, he must have messed up the chicane. That's a shame for him. But yeah, mediums for the McLaren driver, the lead McLaren driver.
Yeah, let's see if he has put it too early. I do still see puddles.
Rage gets past Solar for P8. Good move by the Alpine driver.
To see Solar, Walking Chaos, he's having a lot of wheel spin. He is definitely struggling. He has pitted way too early.
Yeah.
That is not going to help him at all. He's already lost 2 seconds to MSC Solar. We're still paying attention for the battle for P3 as Catcher is still not being able to get around Gary.
Tank slapper.
Gary gets a tank slap, and that's a DNF from Kieran. Oh, Gary's going, not Gary. Catcher's going for a move. He's going to broadcast TV. Will Gary let her through? No, he does not.
Gary's down to 10% ERS.
Yeah, they're going to wheel going through Sector 3. I am just astonished from this battle. And great wheel-to-wheel racing. Catcher still on the outside. Is Catcher still looking for a move? Gary gets her to space. Yes, she does. As we're going to go in the TV pod. Oh, that was close to a collision. Now, Catcher trying to get the switchback done. Will she dive it down the outside? No, she does not.
Kieran's going to get the switchback on Catcher. They're going side by side now.
Side by side for P4 between Catcher and Kieran. Kieran at 60%. Catcher is at 80%. It seems like it's still entered weather as Woofy has DNF'd on the Grand Prix in turn 1 and 2. And that is a safety car. Wow, what a change to the Grand Prix. Now you 100%. As we're gonna go to the compound tire, everyone is on enters except for Walking Chaos on the mediums. If anything, this saved Walking Chaos' race 100%.
Yeah, it really does.
As Walking Chaos also is boxed once again.
He might go back on the inters or maybe try a new set of mediums. I mean, the rains, it stopped raining, but it's still definitely there. Let's see what's another set of mediums.
Oh, he pits for another set of mediums.
Yeah, those mediums are probably done, so just cautionary, get a new set on. Taco also pits as Woofy leaves the race. Unfortunate race rin tonight. Hopefully he can get their race next week.
Let's see what Taco is able. Let's see what Taco does. How to get? Oh, it's a hards. Hards.
This safety car should come in at the end lap. well, going on to 13. The Hearts will definitely make it to the end, that's for sure. So you don't have to worry about any tire wear on them.
It's man, it still looks in your conditioned weather, but
It
the
really
question
does.
is, will the
Will the track
excuse
dry
me,
out
will
in
the
time?
will it dry out in time? Ardell is in.
Or Ardell
He
goes off the track.
everyone's gonna come in for. I'm gonna have to assume the medium or the hard component tire, but I am so surprised that the track hasn't even remotely dried up yet. As
Gets
Kieran gets
another
their
3
second
seconds.
time penalty. Catcher stays out, actually.
Stays
We have
out.
a gambler. Catcher will inherit the lead.
Gary
from the
serves his 5-second
intermediates.
time penalty in the pits, so that's going to be removed from
Ron stayed out
finishing
as
time.
well.
Maybe they know something we don't. Maybe it's going to stay just light rain without any rain. Maybe the track won't improve in time.
We'll see. I do not see any spray at all from the
Kieran
inters.
has pitted for inters again, so both the tires. Gary's on medium, Mitchie,
Yeah.
Bowler's on the inters.
Rage went on the medium, so
2, 4,
I will be. Wow.
Good strategies from the field.
Oh, Ardell's drifting actually. It is still not dry yet. I'm actually. Will we see half of the grid struggling on mediums on a not even a raining track, but it's still wet? And
Yeah,
here
the
at
track
France,
isn't dry.
yeah, here at France, this is actually realistic because the track back then before this year, it did not dry up at all. But they installed new sewer systems or whatever they're called to get the water off the track quicker, and it actually helped. And you can still see like how shiny the track is. There is just
Goes
no
in.
grip at all.
The tires just talk go on. Is he gonna go for the inters or another set of mediums? Looks like they got
He
mediums
goes on mediums.
prepared. Yep.
He's in for the medium up on a tire, so safety car will not be in this lap. It may not even be in next lap.
I know that Catcher would probably want the safety car to come in now, because if it were to come in now and still enter conditions, and she could pull away and then maybe force the drivers such as Ardell and Gary to go on to have to pit again. So it was a gamble from the Alfa Romeo driver, but she definitely would like the safety car to come in as soon as possible.
Yeah, it's also a gamble from Killer, Ron, Kieran, and Solar. And Kieran is actually back in the pit lane. It seems like everyone really is on a split strategy between inters and mediums. And it seems like more of the field's on mediums. So we're going to see how this Grand Prix turns out, as Kieran does go on the medium compounded tire. So we're going to have to see what's going to happen.
This is interesting. Very interesting. I think Kieran would have liked to say it out, but I guess Jeff is telling him something that we simply can't hear. So
Yeah, the safety car may not even be in this lap, honestly.
It's gonna take a while.
Walking Chaos gets another 3 seconds.
Under the safety car, it's not what you want to see.
Not really. It's not what you want to see here, especially under safety car. Everyone's going to be packed up together. The two Alpines are together. As I'm on the onboard of Kieran, and oh my, the 4 drivers here on Inters, they actually may benefit from this.
They may.
As Kieran and Rage is struggling so much.
This could really benefit Solar, because Solar and Killer, they're both on fresh Inters. So maybe they can use that to their advantage while the dry runners are struggling, and then the likes of Castro and Ron won't have the best tire life on their tires. So it'll be interesting for those two drivers.
Yeah, 100%. As we'll see if the safety car comes in this lap or not. Taco is just now crossing the start-finish line to start lap 14, as the 2 Alpines are just now catching up to the rear of the field, as the McLaren of Walking Chaos is still not caught up in time. Safety car may not even go in this laps, but this is not something you want to see if you're the guys on Inters, because you need the most laps that you can, especially on this type of track. It is still 100% inner conditions. It is just mind-boggling about how slow this track is drying up at the moment.
It does look a bit lighter, brain fart. It does look a little bit better than a few laps ago. It does look a bit drier, a bit less greasy. Catcher, oh, she goes to the pits.
Oh, she goes in. Sarge is Ron.
Yeah. Wow, the last second decision from both from Catra. She was really considered to stay out.
Well. So they were probably going on mediums.
Yep, there's a Red Bull in mediums, and yeah, they're all going on mediums. Maybe this was a part of their plan the entire time, because look at the tires. Ardell 2 laps old, Kieran 1 lap, so they'll have a lap or 2 fresher medium tires, and that'll really help coming into the race.
Yeah, but it's still it looks borderline to me now between inters and mediums. I'd have to give inters the win of the battle, really. That's my opinion. Seems like Solar's not struggling at all. What about Killer? They're not going fast enough to see if they're struggling or not, but I have to look at the guys like Catcher and Ron. Catcher does not looks like she's struggling, but not. This is really.
I think it's dry conditions now. I think it's just about. There's barely any drops on the onboard cam. I think it's just about time. The tires will be struggling, but I feel like the inters will have a much harder time.
I believe for the first lap or two, the enders will 100% have the advantage, but as soon as that 2 lap minute period is over, I believe the dries will have the upper hand.
Definitely, especially at the, that was a weird accent I had for a second. I believe this corner right here where Ardell's approaching the fast right-hander, I think the inters are really going to struggle as the safety car comes to the lap.
And I'm on board with Tonka right now, and the back straight looks completely wet in my opinion. So either we have a visual glitch in our end, or we're seeing something that the other guys ain't. As the outside of the track, there is still puddles, so there may be a visual glitch. Honestly, I'm not surprised anymore. It's Codemasters.
Yeah. Just want to point out the penalties before we get this race back underway. Ardell, 3 seconds. Kieran Evans, 3 seconds, along with his teammate Jigsaw Rage for 3 seconds. And Walking Chaos, our pole sitter, with 6 seconds of penalties. Meanwhile, everyone else is clear on penalties.
Yep, as Ardell going through the final corner now, as I would not be surprised if he goes, and yes he does, he goes now. But now we're really going to see the race is back underway here in France. Now we're going to see the inners or softs, not inners or softs, inners or mediums have the advantage. Going through the first corner, seems like Ardell's able to pull away a little bit from Killer. It may be time to drive, but Killer's actually gaining back on him. So it depends on what part of the track you are, if it's wet or not.
Yeah, it's really looking pretty close to these 2 different compound tires. In the long run, I think the mediums will come too. I actually see a bit of sun from the rear wing shot of Gary's car, so it's gonna get drier.
It's only going to drive from here 100% as Solar going to look for a move on Gary. Gary goes to the defensive. Solar's going to look on the outside. He has enough room. Gary cuts the corner a little bit. I wouldn't be surprised if that's a warning. But Killer is already a second behind Ardell, but he's actually gaining time. I believe the mediums somewhat have an advantage, but once again, it depends on what part of the track you are, if it's wet or not.
Yeah, looking at 33, it looked pretty dry here. I think Killer's gonna struggle. Oh, I think it was really
wide. It's dry. It's dry now. Killer is getting. Oh, that's contact! Killer's around. That's wing damage for Gary.
Middle car contact. Oh, Catcher has to get out the way. She almost collides with the Alpine as Ron gets past her. Instead, it was getting dry in sector 3, and we saw firsthand what this could happen.
Yeah, Solar is in for the medium compound tire. I wouldn't be surprised if it's a wing change as well for Solar. It was unfortunate, in my opinion, as Killer gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding of the pit lane and mediums for Solar. is we're going to try and look at the battle between P3, between Walking Chaos, GXR Rage, Ron, and Katra, and Mitchie.
Just want to point this out. Ron Swanson, 3.8 seconds behind Ardell. Everyone ahead of him has either 3 seconds or 6 seconds of time penalties. First and second both have 3 seconds. Third and fourth have 6 seconds. So if he stays within Ardell's 3-second time range, he'll win the race.
Yeah, but it seems like we're going to get a DRS train forming between Kieran leading GXR Rage, Walking Chaos, Ron Swanson, Katra, and Mitchie on the rear bus, really, for this DRS train that is soon to be formed. The next lap of the DRS, the drag reduction system, you will gain around 10 kilometers per hour and 5 miles per hour. And Walking Chaos is actually on the rear gearbox of GXR Rage. Will he go for a move? He goes around the outside. Rage cuts him off. He's going to go for a switchback. And his contact is around.
Do it all.
And that's a track reset.
That might be a penalty. We'll see. Maybe the game did it for him. Hopefully that's the case and he can do it manually, because that is a no-go in Breakout Racing League.
Yeah, that would 100% be a not counted, but super license points. But now, that, if anything, this is helping Ron and Katra here, because you don't have to pass as many cars, which means you won't lose as much time. And speaking of passing cars, when DRS is enabled this lap, Ron is going to look for a move between a Rage and Ron. So we're trying to get a good view here as GXR Rage lets Ron through.
Yeah, that was a very good racecraft from both drivers. Rage understanding that he has that penalty, there's no point in fighting him that hard, and he'll be better off for it because there's another 9 laps of this long race.
Speaking of Rage getting past, Katra is going to look for a move as Ron will not have DRS and Rage and Katra will. The 8 hits a drift will GXR Rage and him and Ron. Will that mean anything as Katra gets DRS? Will she looking for a move? She is using all the energy back. Stops using the battery now. GXR Rage looks like he's using a little bit of battery, and Ron is under no pressure whatsoever from Rage.
Yeah, Ron just passed the close act. He's in the 2.7 seconds of Ardell, so at this point in time, he's only in the race, but still a long race to go. Cash would definitely like to get past Rage eventually, because he's down to 10% ERS, so it's going to be very tough for Rage to keep ahead of Cash, but we'll see.
Yeah, one fun fact here in Formula 1 that probably everyone knows is that once your ERS is below 10%, I believe it is, it's either 10 or 20, that they're, oh, actually Katra gets a good run, that's the backside of it, gets a take slapper because of it. And if your ERS is below 20 or 10, it's one of the two, your gearbox will start flashing like how it does in the wet, signifying that you have no ERS to use in the tank. Katra has DRS, Rage doesn't. I would not be surprised if Katra's going to look for a move. She gets to overspeed, she's going to look on the inside, up and gets the fastest off the third 4.2, and Rage lets Katra through. Oh, actually Rage, and that's a yellow flag. That's Kieran Evans! That opens the door for Ron and Katra to get, as you said, Rage. Let's get you through. Maybe they get that DRS, but barely below the 20% threshold, as GXR Rage is actually losing a lot of time. Maybe when it was still wet, it has affected the tires in a negative way and is barely in the DRS range.
Kieran Evans and Mitchie about to go side by side, maybe. Peeks his nose, but he tugs back in.
Yeah, Kieran.
Behind the Red Bull driver.
Oh, I thought he had a take stopper there, but I was corrected. Mitchie goes a little bit wide, has to avoid the curb because that curb is RNG. It's either you hit the curb and spin out and you crash out, or you hit the curb and you're just fine. I found that out in practice. Is Walking Chaos maybe he's gonna look for a move on DXR Rage. He's on the rear gearbox. This is not NASCAR, guys. You can't be pushing. Especially around here, you're gonna crash. This is Walking Chaos looks around the outside. He's gonna switch back on the inside, hits the curb a little bit. DXR Rage gets a better exit, but Walking Chaos 100% has the battery advantage. Now he's gonna be looking for the DRS. I believe Mitchie actually got DRS from that. Actually, that will benefit him. Now GXR Rage just barely ahead of Walking Chaos. Walking Chaos has the overspeed with the DRS. He's going to look on the outside as I believe he will get through, and yes he will. GXR Rage lets him through.
Very nice move. That was for position because they both have 6-second time penalties. At this point, Walking Chaos would probably drop down to about 8th place behind Taco, but Getting past the Rage is very important. He can try and pull away and close down the gap to Catra in P3.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of Catra, she is barely not able to get in the DRS range of Ron Swanson. And Wonka Chaos, did Wonka Chaos actually get DRS? No, he did not. So it seems like we're going to... If if Ron's able to stay in that 3-second threshold, this may be the battle for the win between Ron, Catra, and Wonka Chaos, but Ron is barely staying in the threshold. This is
look
actually...
at Rage and Mitchie! They're going to go through line.
No, Mitchie blocks him off. Now Kieran on the outside, all of them have below 10% of 20. But now I don't have a good camera angle. Kieran Evans goes down the inside. Mitchie cuts him off, but when Mitchie goes wide, Kieran's going to be on the inside. And will Mitchie let Kieran through? No, he will not. Mitchie sends it in the corner, and Mitchie is able to stay ahead of Kieran Evans. Seems like DXR range is falling back a little bit, so it seems like the rain has affected the medium compounded tires, unfortunately. As Walking Chaos is able to get in the DRS range of Hey Catra, so it seems like Walking Chaos's pace on the dry is 100% better than everyone else's as he gets the fastest lap with a 32.5. But now Catra on to use her battery. Now she's in the DRS range of Ron, but Catra has the ERS advantage between Chaos and Ron. Actually has the ERS advantage above both of them. So lap 21 out of 27, they've completed 20 laps. It's 21 now. So let's see if Catra will have to make a move on Ron Swanson. We saw earlier in the race, it's literally a repeat. Catra wants a shot at this win. She needs to get around Ron Swanson now, because if not, the person behind her will be waiting in the wings in case one of them make a mistake. And Ron is now actually out of the 3-second threshold.
Mitchie and Kieran fighting for position. Mitchie gets ahead of the Alpine again.
Kieran gets better. Ronnie's using all the ERS he has. So is Mitchie. Mitchie goes defensive. Kieran's going to look on the outside. Barely is alongside. Mitchie gets a team slapper. Kieran goes wide to avoid. Now they're going to go wheel to wheel. Here at this part of the track. I don't know what corner it is. Mitchie gets a better apex, but Kieran will get the better run. And yes, he does. And he's peeking on the outside. His Alpine teammate, DXR Rage, is waiting in the wings in case he makes a mistake. And now Kieran's going to look for another move. He ducks back in, so he will not be looking for a move. We're going to have to focus for the battle between P2, or even the win, you could say, as Catra using the DRS as overspeed, and Ron will not fight it. And we'll let Catra through.
I'll tell you who will fight it, Mitchie and Kieran. Mitchie kind of gets passed by the Alpine rather easily, because they're all basically out of DRS.
Now, the Catra is only 4/10 off of that 3-second threshold, but here's the thing, Ron and Chaos are both on the rear gearbox of each other. Ron on the rear gearbox. Actually, Catra's starting to pull away a little bit. Walking Chaos is going to use all the battery that he has, but here's the problem, Ron has DRS. He's going to have overspeed as well. So now, will Ron look for a move? Below 2/10, and no, he will not. He ducks back in line. Walking Chaos looks for a move and backs out of it. I thought his rear axles will not be able to take that all of a sudden move, and I thought he would spin right around, but he has a great setup, I'll tell you that much. And now that will help his pace out a lot. As now, my question is Catra and Ron working together?
I hope they are.
Pull away from Walking Chaos. And they will. Yeah, this also would help them a lot as well, because Catra actually gained 3/10 on that straight, having to use the ERS really. So now she is only 1/10 adrift of the 3-second time penalty mark that Ardel has, as Ron and Walking Chaos will once again get DRS on Catra's. Or it seems like Walking Chaos got a bit of a snap, went through the final corner. Ron has DRS, so does Chaos, so Chaos can't do anything about it really. So now if you're Ron, just don't make any mistakes. You cannot open the door for Walking Chaos to let you through. And here's the door. The door is open now. Will Walking Chaos look for a move? No, he will not. I'm honestly surprised there. It may be a thing, the wait for the DRS straight, and ooh, that was close. As Catra goes wide. And
she needs to try and keep it on the track. Yeah,
she really does. Ardel has a 3-second time penalty, as Wonky Chaos not using the battery, still has a DRS. Ron has DRS and Catra. Once again, I sound like a broken record right now. Everyone, it's just, Ron and Wonky Chaos have DRS on Catra. And it seems like there's nothing Chaos can do. Except for here, will he be looking for a move? No, he will not. Ron has the battery to defend. Wonky Chaos has 25. Oh! Wonky Chaos is for a move. No, he does not. Oh, he's going to try for a switchback. Yes, he does. Down the inside goes Wonky Chaos. Ron pinches him a little bit, and Ron will be able to get back in the P3. Wonky Chaos will look for another switchback, and no, he cannot.
Tell you what, this is really hurting Ron. Right? He wants to get that P2, but he's got to fight Walking Chaos to keep ahead. Walking Chaos isn't even going to get this position. He has 6 seconds over time penalties, but he doesn't care. He wants this position no matter what.
Yeah, but someone this is helping is Ardel. He's able to get out of the 3-second threshold between himself and Catra. As Ron misses turn 1, Walking Chaos will be looking for a move. He's on the rear gearbox, actually pushing him through there, as that will not help Ron at all, because if he loses DRS, P3, at least on track, is all but done for.
Yeah, Miniko in the chat saying Ardel is dumping. Not really, I mean, well, now he is. But both Ardel and Catra is over there by about 5% ERS, so I think Catra might be in the driver's seat. She's got a bit more ERS, and Ardel's tires are a bit older, so if she can keep ahead of Ron and Chaos and just focus on coasting down and get to Ardel, she could still win the straight with 3 laps left.
Yeah, we will see Ardel starting to open the gap a little bit. It seems like whoever the leader of this DRS train, you cannot do anything to catch up, because also at the same time, Ron and Walking Chaos is behind her, so she's having to look in the mirrors constantly on the straight to see if they're going to look for a move. Speaking for looking for a move, Walking Chaos will peek on the outside, ultimately does not do anything, as Ron will once again get DRS on Catra. Seems like it's
look at Chaos.
Oh,
so
Chaos.
close.
Oh, he
but a
moves
contact.
Ron! The bumper run, you can say, in NASCAR. As Walking Chaos once again on rear gearbox of Ron. Ron has the ERS to defend. He's using it all to stay ahead of Walking Chaos. So honestly, at this rate, if I'm Ron, I have to get around Catra, because Walking Chaos is just basically pushing me through every corner now. Walking Chaos is 100% getting impatient.
If I was Ron, I might even.
Oh no!
They made
Walking Chaos
contact.
punch Ron!
Oh wow, that's a 3 seconds for Walking Chaos. I was gonna say maybe Ron should even think of letting Walking Chaos through, since he seems so much faster and aggressive. Maybe we'll try and hunt down Ardel in closing stages, but that contact is really screwed over Ron. He doesn't have DRS, and now here comes Walking Chaos, an easy move on the Ferrari driver.
That is unfortunate. I saw Ron Swanson go into AI, the probably clip incident, as I will not be surprised if that is sent into the steward's portal. As now, the main battle really now is between Ardel and Catra. Catra has 3/10 to gain on Ardel. She does not have the battery, so the question is, will she saving up her tires, but pushing enough to keep Walking Chaos and Ron behind, as we will find out as we're going to come to 2 to go this time by.
Kieran and Mitchie are still squabbling for P5. They've been going at it since the safety car restart.
That's great race between the two. I'm trying to go back to Walking Chaos, and he does get DRS of Hey Catra, but now Ron gets the DRS of Walking Chaos. So we're back to square one. Everyone has DRS on each other. Now, 2 laps left in the French Grand Prix. If I'm Catra, don't even focus in the mirror unless you absolutely have to. My goal, get in that 3-second time penalty range between yourself and Ardel. Now 3/10, Gary gets a 3-second time penalty. That will be put at the end of the race. As Ron will not actually get DRS on Walking Chaos here unless something changes. As Killer gets a 5-second time penalty for speeding in the pit lane, as he will probably do a fastest lap attempt. As Walking Chaos is using all the battery that he has and will look for a move on Hey Catra, and that will be an easy
Catra lets him go. This could be crucial because I do think Chaos is faster than Ardel, and Ardel has been really using the battery. He's down to 5%, and Catra has about 15%, so she might like to been second on the final lap, so she could just use her battery instead of being stuck behind Chaos. But hopefully Chaos can try and close down the gap to Ardell and just pull Catcher along, because she would definitely let this race win.
Yeah, 100%. These walking Chaoses are already on the 3-second threshold, but it won't matter. There's too many time penalties, as we're going to go to the gap of the leader as Ardell is coming up to the final lap of the French Grand Prix. Now it's going to be down 2 time penalties. This Catcher will get DRS, which will help significantly as we're going to go leader gap. And now we're on the final lap of the Grand Prix. The gap between Walking Chaos and Ardell is 2.7. Walking Chaos is the fastest lap. Now Catcher is only 3.1 behind. It's going to be close, but the dirty air is not helping at all. If Catcher gets DRS on Walking Chaos, it may be close. This Catcher cannot stay in this dirty air. It is negatively affecting the tires, as the gap is only 3.1. Now Catcher.
This is what I was talking about. If this is what I was talking about before Ron made contact with Chaos, if they just let Chaos lead and just push like heck, then they could just get right onto the threshold of Ardell's penalty. So she's getting the dirty air, but the gap's 2.9 now, 2.8. So this final sector, and we'll see who wins the race.
Yeah, we will see. Only 2/10 of the threshold. If Catcher is at 0 ERS, but here's where the dominant air comes into effect through here, especially. Now Ardell is closing the gap. This Catcher is at 2.6. We're gonna go to Ardell.
Mistake. He lost a little bit of time.
We're gonna go with Ardell as going through the final corner. Catcher will get DRS. We'll have to see, but Ardell will come across the line to win the French Grand Prix on track. And Catcher gets DRS, and she will win the French Grand Prix. Wow. First 3 races, she was podium, Canada, DNF. But now Catcher gets her second career win here in the Breakout Racing League here at the French Grand Prix. Redemption Day for her, as our podium is Ron, Ardell, and Catcher.
What a race. I said watch out Catcher early on in the race. Arabian Killer actually said, I'm sorry for taking that credit. Arabian Killer said Catcher win and Ron podium. He was absolutely right. Meanwhile, Taco was getting I don't think he got any penalties. He moves up to P6, so good recovery. Got some solid points to win the championship contenders.
Yeah, it seems like the momentum Catcher is having right now currently at the moment, she may be a title contender as well. It seems like as long as consistency is key in any championship battle, 100%. So whoever's the most consistent out of the other drivers will win the championship. As I believe he got fastest lap, actually. I will have to check for myself as driver.
I think Walking Chaos got it.
Let's see, and the driver of the day is Mitchie here in Tier 3 at La Castellet. Wow, what a race from Tier 3 here at France. I'm just happy that it just didn't immediately go to dry.
Agreed. That would have been a very shame if that were to happen again.
Yeah, again. But yes, I am correct. Killer stole the fastest lap with a 31.7. Wow.
It's a blistering lap time for race conditions.
Yep. As I will go through the race director for everyone in case needs it. Catcher gets 2 warnings. Ardell gets a warning, a penalty, plus a warning, and another warning. He was close to getting 6 seconds, actually. As you would like to get the podium interviewers in.
Yep.
But overall, what a great race here in Tier 3 at the French Grand Prix. Redemption Day from Catcher, as I will have to finish out getting racer director for everyone. That way I was able to go down into the showcase room. Wow, I'm exhausted. What a great race. I have to wait. Okay. This is pretty awkward. It won't let me leave. Okay. I have to reload my game. In a minute. I have to reload my game. It won't let me leave.
No worries. I'll
Alright, my game has successfully loaded and the stream's back up. Alright,
No,
stream
he
is
used
back up,
the-
gentlemen.
he
It would be
used
nice
walk-in.
for everyone to include their audio.
He used walking. He used that idiot. He hit me 4 times. He doesn't know how to race around a slow car. And he track resets, so poor guy is gonna get a litany of things. He's dumber than a pile of rocks.
Alright, gentlemen, I'd like for y'all
Yeah.
to get your
I
audio
want them
included
to hear it.
as DXD will be able to start interviews with the Ferrari's Ron Swanson.
Yeah, we just heard Ron's opinions about a certain incident, but Ron, tell us about the your race in entirety. You started from P8 and now you're P3, one of 4 drivers to not get any penalties.
Yeah, it was a nice race. I expected more, I guess, in the end. I felt like, I mean, Ardell, I'll give him props. He only got 1 time penalty, which I was banking on him getting more, so that didn't help me. But in the end, I was really fast for the first couple of laps once we finally went under the dry tire, and then it kind of all went away. And I was really just content. I was just going to try to follow Katra in there, try to hope we can get a first and a second. And I had a not so smart guy behind me who just doesn't know how to race around other people, apparently. Like, I've raced around cars who are slower. I know to leave a gap going through turns, and then once we get towards straights, like turn 1 and I believe turn 5 on the back stretch, I believe that's the turn number. I could be completely wrong. It may be turn 8. Either way, those are great places to close up and then make a pass, but he was just on me the entire time. He hit me like 4 freaking times. So I don't know what's going on through that guy's head. He also track reset, so it's like, hopefully, 1 guaranteed 5-second. I'd be pretty upset if he doesn't get a penalty for hitting me 4 times. It's not smart. He's a fast guy. He should be smarter than that.
Yeah, watching the race, it definitely looked like he was being a bit aggressive. Did you ever consider just letting him through and maybe
Oh hell no! Not after he hit me the second time.
No?
Katra did. Katra didn't tell me. I feel like I have been betrayed. No, I'm joking. But I was just livid because he hit me the first time. I was like, what is he doing? Then he immediately hit me the second time, and at that point I was like, no, I'm just going to do my best to hold him up, because I assume he's just being a little prissy, trying not to lose time to the cars behind, because Mitchie and Taco actually got 5th and 6th because they didn't get any penalties, so that's pretty good. But it sucks to lose points to Ardell. I didn't lose points to anyone else, though, so I guess that works out. But just more could have been possible, and just a little random irritation at the end of the race for no reason.
Yeah. But overall, I think you did a great job getting. Still got the podium, so you could have been crashed
at
out
least,
or spun. So
you get to go
good
party
podium.
with Friday on his first win this season.
Yep.
Next.
Yeah. Yeah, I was
Wow.
here. Anyway, Ron, I do have a question. Next
Cool.
week, we go to Austria. How do you feel about your pace on that track, and what do you think you can do there?
No, I didn't. I said I'm going to say the same thing I said at France. I would like to win. I didn't win France, so what does that mean? I don't know. I something could happen. I could get a podium. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't practiced yet. I have no idea. It's the same thing we go into every race. You always see those people who are like, "Oh, look at me! I got a 28.4 in qualifying," and then it's the same type of people who go out and spin like 4 different times in the race and crash out or get like a litany of time penalties. And it's like, I don't care about your qualifying pace. In the end of the day, you just gotta do exactly what pretty much the top 3 did. Sit there and know when to go. I sat in the back the entire race, waited the entire race, and then as soon me and Fridays tried to gamble, staying out on those inner tires. We were hoping that would work, and then Jeff told us to pit, so we did. Didn't want to take the risk. But then that's what me and Fridays did. We pushed really hard. When we finally went on the dry tires, it was the right opportunity to push, and it got us podiums. So that's... We knew when to fight. We don't like to fight on lap 5, where I'm pretty sure I got wrecked by someone lap 5. That's right, the other McLaren. So McLaren's been naughty to me. He punted me in... I forgot what turn it was, but I think it was turn 2. And he punted me off the track. I don't remember what turn it is. But that wasn't... McLaren is naughty today. Naughty.
Yeah, congratulations, Ron, on your P3. Basically up and down race for you in the Scuderia Ferrari. I probably butchered that name. But as we go on to the P2 finisher, BRL Ardel. A domination at the end of the day, but the 3-second time penalty costed you really in the end, losing out by a 10th. Give me your thoughts on the Grand Prix and just the emotions, really.
I mean, like, yeah, I would have liked to win it on track, but we don't know what's gonna happen yet. Anything could happen. So yeah, just ran my race. Yeah, 3-second, kind of annoying because the rear of the car just stepped out and I slid over a corner. So yeah, that was not fun. I was actually mad at that point. So I had to recompose myself, just rode from there, and yeah, my tires were dead at the end. So that was not fun either.
Dixie, you have any questions for BRL Ardel?
Yeah, just one. How does it feel to sell a win?
I wouldn't know, mate. I wouldn't know. How does it feel to not get a podium in a Mercedes in realistic?
It feels pretty great, honestly. You know, I can't complain.
I had a little chuckle myself, but congratulations, Ardel, on your P2. But
Thank you.
ultimately, it didn't work out in the end when you got the 3-second time penalty. As we go on to our race winner, HeyCatcher3124. Really, ever since you opened. Had a stroke. Ever since your opening race, really, you've had momentum on your side, except for Canada, when you said yourself that you got a wheel bug. But now, France, it is redemption day. You were able to grab the victory. But once again, I wouldn't say up and down. It was really more of ups, but it took an intergamble. I was really I wasn't mind-boggled at the decision. I was just mind-boggled at how long it would take for the ride to try out. you took the gamble, but the last lap before safety car, you come in for mediums, and now you're able to get the win. Tell me your thoughts and emotions, really, from the race.
Well, nothing is really I guess, set in stone until, well, the final word sings, I guess you could say. A report was put in about the pit entry on lap 14, so I guess we'll leave it up to the stewards. Personally, I do think it was probably a little too late, so we'll see what they think of it. But for the race itself, starting it off was atrocious. I missed pole by not even a tenth before Chaos went faster, so kudos to him on that one. It was a great lap. But for the race itself, it was incredible. I did not have tire temperature at the start. I dropped from, second to fifth or something, and I thought from there the race was over because the rain came down, couldn't get past Gary, and a lot of up and downs from a lot of drivers. But we were able to recover with that safety car and get some track position, and my gut honestly said multiple times, and Ron can back me up on this, I didn't see it dry enough. I thought it was just going to be enter, and we had to take that gamble, and then Ron got a late call, and I thought it would be the best decision if I went into, which is kind of controversial because it was, once again, a little bit too late, so let's see how that goes out. And then from there, it was just a battle of getting through the field and doing the best you can with guys in off-left right center, and we made that move, and eventually was in a position to actually grab that win and the podium. At the moment it was the podium, but then when we saw Ardell had a 3-second, we were somewhat in fighting and grabbing distance. We went ahead and went for it. Ron tried, couldn't get it. I was a little bit faster. I then tried, and I couldn't get it as well. So I saw Chaos was incredibly fast, so I stuck behind him, used the DRS, and got in that window. It's, once again, it's not confirmed.
There's a penalty on you.
It's not
that
confirmed.
That was quick.
Yeah. It's not confirmed that this win is even in the books yet, but if it does, it would be 293 days since the last Formula One league racing win, and Abu Dhabi, ironically, was the same way through a penalty. So I've yet to get it actually physically on track, but hopefully one of these days I will.
Yeah, we will see about if your win will be set in stone. But Dixie, you have any questions for her?
I would say yes, but since you didn't have a teammate, I don't have to worry about you raging for them to let you by so you can get another win like you did to Abu Dhabi in Tier 2 a few seasons ago to me. That was fun. But how long did it take for you to decide to let Chaos through? Because it seemed like he was being pretty aggressive with Ron. So were you just trying to get out of his way as soon as possible and just let him pull you away?
It was a mix of different things. I had originally, whenever Chaos was there with Ron and having that ding-dong battle back there for third at the moment when it was, I saw how aggressive Chaos was being, and the first thought that caught in my mind is, if he's this quick, what if we both let him by? But I didn't really go through with that thought.
He hurt
and
me.
I used it as a last-ditch effort. And, I saw that I was not going to catch Ardell and thought the best chance was to at least give it a try, because, I mean, at most I'm going to be P2 anyway, so I let Chaos through, hoping that no contact would be between any of us, or if he held me up, because I don't know exactly, because, I mean, going into turn 11 looked like it may have been the bad call, but it turned out to be the right one, and it was aggression that really decided that I didn't really need it. I mean, he was a lot more aggressive than me. He really, really wanted to get that gap, and I was the only thing in the middle of that. So if I would have defended it, I may have been spun off too and not even gotten the podium. It's just you got to think smart. And, thankfully, for my case, it benefited. Unfortunate for Ron, though.
Yeah, but anyway, this concludes the Tier 3 from the Breakout Racing League. Don't be sad, though. Later on, in actually 30 minutes, we will have Tier 4 live from Minico, who will be the main commentator, and Feta Cheese 33. It's a co-com unless anything changes, and you'll know that when the stream goes live. But don't tune out now, because after Friday's night of racing, we have Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 1 being first at 8 p.m. Eastern, and Tier 1 being at 10 Eastern. But what if you don't like F1 racing, right? Well, guess what? You have ACC Xbox, which is being streamed on Sunday. I don't know what time that would be. All I know is that you have
7 p.m.
Sunday
Eastern time.
Yes, thank you. ACC Xbox, 7 p.m. Eastern time, which will be streamed by XF1. But we will see you again in 30 minutes as Tier